few years ago, I looked at my accounts and I realized I had around $70,000 sitting there. Not by luck, but just from being consistent over time. I've always been a little nerdy about tracking money, splitting things into savings, investing, making sure bills were handled. But I never really stopped to look at what it all added up to. What surprised me wasn't the number, it was what it meant. That money turned into freedom. It's what let me sell my place, take a step back, and actually buy myself some time. That's how I'm able to move to Japan for a couple of years, not to retire early, just to rebuild, reset, and use the savings I built for something that matters. So this video isn't about how to go from broke to riches. It's about how I built a simple system that gave me flexibility and how you can do the same without living like a monk or stressing every day about money. So let me back up a bit. When I say I was in my 20s, I wasn't making a ton of money. I had a decent job, but nothing crazy. What I did have was this habit of always keeping track, writing things down, keeping budgets, splitting income into categories. I'd read a few books early on that talked about saving and investing, so that part made sense to me. But it wasn't until later, when I started earning more, that everything started coming together. Those systems I built early actually started working in my favor. I wasn't saving because I was afraid of spending. I was saving because I liked seeing the progress, and when I got better at it, I realized it wasn't really about being good with money. It was about giving myself room to move. So when life changed or things came up, I didn't have to panic. That's how I ended up with $70K sitting there. And honestly, that's how I realized I'd saved too much. I had this chunk of cash that was supposed to be for a house, but I wasn't even sure I wanted that anymore. So I moved a lot into my investments, sold the house, and used that to reset. And that's what set me up for this next chapter, using what I saved to rebuild my life, not just hoard it. So the first thing I always tell people is track everything. Not forever, just long enough to understand your habits. I had a simple spreadsheet, 4 categories: needs, saving, investing, and wants. That's it. Once I filled that out a few times, I could see all the little leaks. I realized I wasn't bad with money, I was just blind to it. And once I saw it, I could decide what was worth it and what wasn't. No guilt and no extreme budgeting. You can't fix what you don't measure, and you don't need to fix everything at once. Just start noticing. Once you see it clearly, your brain starts adjusting on its own. After that, I built a system that worked for me. I didn't want to live cheap or obsess over every dollar, so I made it automatic. Every paycheck, I sent around 50% straight to savings and investments. That way, I never even saw it in my checking. It was already gone, but in a good way. That one move took away so much stress, because once your system's automatic, you can actually live your life without thinking about it all the time. And my want bucket allowed me to use my money for stuff like travel or gifts. So when those things came up, I didn't feel guilty about spending it. It was already planned for. That's what I mean by building a system that fits you, not something perfect, just something that actually sticks. I think a lot of people imagine saving as this painful thing, like you're giving up fun for the future. For me, it started feeling good once I saw progress. The first few thousand I saved, it wasn't even about the money. It was about the peace that came with it. It's like, for the first time, you're not scared of an emergency. You know you can handle it. And that's progress. And that progress is addictive. It makes you want to keep going. So I turned it into a small game. Can I beat last month's total? Can I hit this new number? And every time I did, I'd celebrate in a small way. Grab a drink, take a trip, whatever. That's what kept it sustainable. I didn't feel deprived, I felt in control. At a certain point, you can only cut out so much. If you want to grow faster, you have to make more. That's what I started doing. Flipping things, taking on small side work, just using what I already knew to earn extra. Sometimes it was small projects, sometimes bigger ones, but I always treated that money as freedom money. That extra income went straight into savings or investments, not lifestyle upgrades, and that's how I built momentum. The more I earned, the more flexible I got. And once you get a taste of that flexibility, you start looking for ways to build more of it. The last part, and honestly the most important, is having a reason. If you're saving just to save, it gets boring fast. You need something behind it. For me, that $70,000 became my freedom fund. It wasn't about hitting a random milestone. It was about giving myself time to step back, learn, and rebuild. That's what let me move to Japan and focus on what's next instead of worrying about surviving month to month. Once your money has a reason, it feels like progress, not sacrifice. So figure out what you want that freedom to represent. Looking back, I realized I was never saving to save. I was just building structure so I could make choices later. That's the real goal, not some dollar amount, but flexibility. The ability to decide where you live, what to work on, and when to take a break. Money isn't freedom by itself, but having enough structure to control it, that's where the freedom starts. If you're rebuilding your life, whether that's your money, your habits, or your direction, that's what this channel's about. Subscribe if you want to see what comes next, because in another video, I'll break down exactly how I'm using that money to buy 2 years of freedom in Japan, what it's going towards, and how I'm making it last. We're figuring this out together. Peace out.